Okay, let me make sure. Okay, we've got the full screen, I think. Okay, so thanks again to the Federation. Thank you, Rich, for organising things. Thanks, Danny, for the technical work. So this is the second of 3 sessions, which is progressing to advanced as a general theme. So tonight we're going to discuss probably the most important topic if you want to, I think, move from, a PR of about 13 to 8 or 9. And that's what I call not missing the bus. And I think this would, if you get this and apply it, I think this would take you halfway on the journey of itself. And so I'm going to dwell a little bit on it, just talking about it, because it's important when you're playing the game that this is fairly top of mind. So the title, Not Missing the Bus, really comes from about 40 years ago for me, when I was a student. We worked during the day, we knocked off at 6 o'clock, got something to eat, and we started studying about 7 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock, we put the books away and we walked up the road to the Dawson Lounge, Dublin's smallest pub, or second smallest pub. And it was now about 10:15, and we got 3 pints. We got 3 of us had a pint of Guinness. At about 10 to 11, we just nodded to the barman and he put on 3 more pints of Guinness. And we had to leave the pub, each of us, at 11:15. That was the drop dead time to get from the top of Dawson Street to, I was going to Westmoreland Street, and it took 15 minutes. The bus left at 11:30. So 40 years ago, there were not many taxis. There was a bit of a monopoly. Taxis were relatively much more expensive. So there was a good chance if you missed the bus that you might walk home. And for me, that was a bit over 4 miles and, it was uphill, a bit north of an hour. So, not missing the bus was pretty crucial. And in backgammon, not missing doubles is pretty crucial. So we're just going to, tonight, I think, look at, 3 scenarios. That background to doubling based on the potential of the situation, not what the situation is, and doubling in last roll positions. So just on the first one, this is a distribution of our doubling errors, and I include myself in here. So if we all put in our doubling errors together, then if we had 100 doubling errors, 80 of them would be missed doubles. So the other 20% are, we shouldn't have doubled. So the big mistake, the big issue we're trying to address is why collectively are we all missing the bus? So maybe I'm going to give a couple of reasons. But before I give what I think the reasons are, can I just open it up and ask people, because I think this reflects our collective experience of doubling. Why do you think we miss doubles, or why do you miss doubles? Or, I'm going to give my reasons and personal view. So please, before I do, can people just share themselves why they think they miss doubles?
I was waiting to be sure for me.
Yeah.
One more roll and then I'll be sure.
Yeah. That's certainly a reason.
Sean, I think we have too many scars from times when something full of potential becomes a disaster.
Yes, yeah, very true, Jamie. Very true. Yes, it doesn't always work out on the night. Yeah.
I think sometimes you miss one because you're going for a gammon and you're afraid of scaring them off.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's very fair. So very similar to what I had myself. So I think, as Vic said, first reason is we're not sure. And I think the way we run our lives is we don't tend to make a decision if we're not sure. So if you're coming up to a T-junction in the car, you don't swing around unless you've had a fairly good look to your left and to the right. You know, you need to be pretty sure. Similarly, I think in business, if you do your market research before you take something on. So I think all our training and upbringing is don't do it unless you're sure. You know, I think that's the way we're trained and hardwired. And I think, as Vic said, then the temptation is to take another role and get more sure. So that's an enormous temptation. We just want to be a bit further ahead and then we'll double. And I think there is something which is a little bit, again, in our DNA. We don't like giving our opponent a stick that they might hit us with. I think there's something tribal about sitting around a campfire with a big cudgel in the middle. And you know, if I hit him, if I pick up the cudgel and hit him, there's a very good chance he's going to hit me back. So I think a combination of things really lean on and make us miss a lot of doubles. I think sometimes actually we often get so engrossed in the game that we forget about the cue. The position is so volatile. There's so many things happening. You know, we're hitting him, we're on the roof, he hits us, we hit him, and we forget the cue. There's a lot of volatility. It's quite exciting. It's a roller coaster. So we don't like giving our opponent that stick to beat us with. We forget things. So there's an awful lot of reasons, and that's why we miss a lot of doubles. And we, as I say, that's collectively, we all miss a lot of doubles. Now, the great thing about the next slide is that once you see it, you can't unsee it, which is very useful. It's like you can't unring a bell. So, and I think this slide is very helpful to me and probably encourages me to double a little bit more. So probably the great thing is in the visuals, but we will talk through each position. So these really are the doubling positions that present themselves. So the first position is, it's a double take. So that's, you know, we're in a position, we don't know what it is, but it's a double take. So we double and our opponent takes. I think it's reasonable to give ourselves a green smiley face. That's a good result. We have doubled our equity in the position by doubling. We have positive equity, and by doubling, we double our equity. So typically, let's say we're 70-30, there's no gammons, so our equity is 0.4. We double and we make our equity 0.8. That is very good. And we were correct to double. But by doubling, we actually give our opponent a chance to go wrong. They may pass. It's a take. Now, by doubling, if the opponent had taken with a 70-30 chance, equity of 0.4, we pushed it to 0.8. But by them making a mistake, our equity became 1. We got all the equity out of the position because they made a mistake. And now we've stolen something. And I think, so we give ourselves 2 green faces here. I think that will be right because, you know, there's going to be swings backward and forward in any match. And, you know, if luck is neutral, then we have to beat the opponent on skill. And so by giving them the opportunity to make a mistake and then passing, well, that's a bonus. So I'm giving ourselves 2 green faces. Now, the position which we're not sure about, it could be a double and a pass. That could be the correct position. So let's say we're 80-20 in the position. We're 80-20. So our equity in the position is 0.6, 0.8 less 0.2. We're 80-20. So by doubling, we push the equity to 1.2. So our opponent should clearly just give up the one. They should pass. The position is a double and a pass. So we double, and our opponent goes wrong. They take. They could have gone out for 1 point. Now it's going to cost them on average over 1. So we definitely get 2 green smiley faces for that, because they've got wrong. Now, had they passed, okay, that's correct. Well, we got our equity. We were 80-20 favourite, or whatever. Yeah, we were 80-20 favourite. We doubled, and they were right to pass, but we pushed our equity from 0.6 to 1. So we got all the equity by using the cube, and well done us. We did the right thing, so we get a green smiley face. So far, all that's happening is every time we double, we're getting green smiley faces. The final position is we went wrong. It was no double. The position is no double. And I think the opponent takes. So we have to give ourselves a penalty here. And the question is, how many red penalty faces should we get? I think if we've doubled, we were probably ahead. You know, I think if we have a sense of the game, well, we were winning. We didn't have enough to double, but we were probably winning. So on those grounds, it's probably not too big a penalty. Also, our opponent will be not very good at recubing us because people are slow to recube and they haven't been to this seminar. So they're not that good. So the penalty is not very big on being wrong. But actually, sometimes when the position is no double and we double, our opponent is frustrated, the position has reversed, they were doing really well, now we've got an edge, they're frustrated, they're having a fight at home, work has gone bad, they're cheesed off and they pass. Well, that's a lot of smiley faces for us because they've gone pretty badly wrong. So I don't know if Cracker, are you there? Cracker may not be here yet. If Cracker, are you here?
I think he's not here.
I was going to ask for someone with an incisive, analytical mind to comment on the colours on the page. And I thought Cracker would be up to it. And the main thing is, it's nearly all green. And that's the way doubling is. So while we're hardwired not to double, to try to be more certain, I think when we look at what's happening when we double, it's just so positive. So I think if you lean into doubling, you're going to win a lot more matches. You'll be very surprised sometimes when your opponent passes. You would have been fairly sure it was a take. You'll double in a position where you weren't sure, but you doubled, and you're going to roll a great number, a double 5. And your opponent isn't even going to breathe again. You're just going to chalk up 4 points. So you're going to win a lot more matches. And this is tip number, I think, 4. So don't miss the bus. That's why I'm dwelling on this. During the match, you're going to hit points where you're going to go, this could be a double. And it could be. And what I'm saying is, if you want to probably improve your PR by an immediate 2, something like that, just double. Lean into doubling. You're immediately a better player and a much more dangerous player. So that's hard to do in practice. I sometimes really have to push myself to double in a position. You know, you're trying to assess a lot. Strength of your home board, my home board, the strength of my relative position in the outfield, what's the match score, where am I in the doubling window? You know, if I'm creeping up, it's fine to hold off, but if some rolls if the volatility of the position is high, then I really need to double now. But I find that reluctance in myself that sometimes I just push myself and double. And it generally works out. Doesn't always work out, but it generally works out well. But even having played for a long time, knowing this is true, I still sometimes really have to give myself a push and double. So and it's almost like a physical push. It's a push and you double. So that's such an important tip. Look, I'm just going to leave it there. I'll maybe just open it up for any comments. Does this feel intuitively wrong or intuitively right? Or does it feel a bit naive or a bit trivial? I'm just interested in any observations.
Just one there, Sean. You haven't explored too good to double.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think too good to double is often used by people as an excuse not to double.
Right.
And I'm not saying that as to try to shirk the question. You don't worry about too good. Just double anyway. At least half of the too good positions, it's bloody obvious you're too good, right? You've rolled a very good number and you're crushing them. Look, you don't have to double those. So some of the too goods, it's just so obvious you're too good. I don't need to say, and you don't need to worry about it. Don't double them. Other ones where you think, I could be too good here, just double it. Do you know what? Half the time your opponent's going to do, and you're going to crush them. So sometimes people use, I wonder, some of these volatile positions are quite tricky because what they'd say is the doubling window is very narrow. You go no double a lot, narrow doubling window, and then you're into too good. And people actually very often will say, oh, I thought I was too good. But actually what it was they didn't have the courage to double. And so a lot of the too goods, they're so obvious you're too good, that's fine. If I wonder, am I too good? I wonder, just double the bloody thing. Do you know what? Just double it. If you know too good, then leave it alone. So I hope that answers that. That's my view.
Yeah.
And Sean, I remember one time you had given me this tip about sort of once you've doubled, then you're not going to make doubling errors after that because the cube is not in your possession. And I do notice many times, if you miss the double, you could well miss it 2, 3, 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
And that really brings down your PR.
It does, yeah. You put your position is no double, and then the position doesn't really change, and you keep on. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a little bit of an unfair feature of the PR system, but it's probably you keep on getting it wrong. So yeah, your PR will improve by doing this, just by virtue of that, Jamie. Even I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends who the opponent is as well. Like if I was playing you, Sean, and you asked me the cube, I'd assume you'd worked it out correctly, and I'd probably take it because I'd assume that you're kind of going, you worked it out correctly, and it's a take.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Would that be fair?
Well, I'll wait, Vic, till I'm too good against you. So look, the cube is quite hard. With moves, with checker plays, you have 5 or 6 options. It's obvious enough that one of 3 of them is the correct one. And there are only degrees of whether you're wrong or right. But the cube is more black and white. And It's just that we collectively lean into not doubling so much. It's definitely your biggest mistake by far if you're playing at 12, 11, so 13, 40. It's your biggest mistake by far. And doing this corrects it, just really corrects it, you know, and it makes you quite a dangerous player. You know, you start winning a lot of 4 points because you don't win many 4 points if you haven't doubled. Or if you wait so long that when you double your opponent passes, you'll keep on getting beaten based on checker play unless you're doubling. So everyone's just a much more dangerous player. And the one thing I like is all of the green is green and you can't unsee the chart. So next time you're playing and you're thinking, it could be a double, you won't be able to stop yourself thinking of the chart with all the green and you're going to miss the bloody bus and you have to walk home. So that's why I've dwelt on it. So guys, we'll move on to the next one, but if there's no more, but this is really important. Okay. So there's a fair amount in backgammon, which is imagination. And you've got to imagine the future. So what's there in front of you on the board, that's pre-roll. And when you double, you've got to double based on potential. So maybe a pretty standard type of position is it's going to take white's on roll. It's definitely going to take white 3 rolls. Well, sorry, white's expectation is 3 rolls to get off. And it's going to take black 2 or 3. So if black gets off in 2, he's probably going to win. Black gets off in 3, white's going to win. Now, you know, broadly, you know, if white rolls 2-1, 2-1, well, maybe black has got 3 rolls to get off or something. But broadly, white's on roll and he's thinking, I'm 3 rolls. Black is 2 rolls or maybe 3. And I think an awful lot of players would roll and see what black does. You know, they roll, black rolls 6-4, and then they're going, I wonder now. So any comments on that, this position?
May I ask?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
In particular situation, this could be a money game or not money game. I don't really understand that doubling point. But that
Okay.
if it's a money game, that could be a double by white. I'm not too sure 100%, but that's where my PR, exactly what Jamie said. That's where I'm losing my PRs in general.
Okay.
On doubles.
All of these positions will be, it's the same money or a match to 11 where it's 0-all. So there's no match score considerations here. It's always 0-all. So is anyone doubling, or will you wait a roll and then, you know, with black, you can double?
I'd double. I'll be in with the doubling cube there.
Okay. Why would you double?
Because either there's the 2 and the 1. He's got a big gap. The opponent. It could be a she actually. He or she has got a big gap there with the first and the second point.
Are we on mute? Oh.
So as Vic says, let's forget doubles. So black is a 2 or a 1, which are bad rolls. Now he's going to be a 3-roll position. So we know, and you just need to get this approximately. Black will roll a 1 or a 2 half the time. I'm, you know, because I'm not worrying about double 2 here and stuff. 1 or a 2 half the time. And black's going to have to avoid that 1 or a 2 on 2 occasions. Because if black rolls a 1 or a 2, it's going to take him 3 rolls. and then he's going to lose. So white should just be going here. Black has a 50% chance of rolling a 1 or a 2 the first time, and a 50% chance the second time. So the probability is 1 minus a half by a half is 75% that black is going to roll a 1 or a 2. So this position is 75%, 25%. So white is an overwhelming favorite here. And it's an enormous double take. Now, the double is huge. And you know that you're at least 75%. You know that once you work out, well, half by a half is a quarter. So for black to avoid a 1 or a 2 and 2 rolls, 75% of the time he rolls a 1 or a 2. So 75% of the time, white's just winning. Now, if the cracker was here, I'll slag him. Cracker would wait a roll. As white, he would roll 5-4, take 2 off. Black would roll 6-2, take 1 off. Cracker would double and think, well done, everybody. And it's not. Cracker should have got 2. He should have got 2 points here. So you double on the potential of the position. You cannot wait for black to roll the 1 or a 2. If you're waiting for black to roll the 1 or a 2, you've missed the bus by half an hour. Okay? Now, do people, any comment on that?
And Sean, should white be thinking about missing a shot in his second roll? Is that a factor?
But you see, white's only got 5 checkers, so white can afford to miss it. Like white can roll 6-1, take 2 off, and he's still only got 3 checkers left and 2 rolls. So white's not really worried about missing at all. Is that fair, Jamie? Because he's only got 5 checkers in this example.
Mm-hmm.
But pip counting wise, it's 15 against 10.
Yeah, pips don't really matter here at all. It's a good example where the pips don't matter. It's when you come to end positions like this, you count your rolls, and let's give white an average roll. Let's give white a bad roll, 4-1, 2 off. He's now got 1 on the 5, 1 on the 3, and 1 on the 2. I think he's getting off on 2 rolls. And I've given him a really bad roll. So white's getting off here in 3 rolls. If it takes black 3 rolls, he's going to lose. But you got to double now. You can't wait for black to roll 6-1. The bus is gone. It's now double pass, and black is passing. Black is passing. And you've cost yourself a lot of equity there. And in fact, if you don't double, you deserve black to roll double 5 and you lose. You just got to double these positions. If you're not doubling positions like these, you're in a lot of trouble. And with positions like these, then it's not the pips. It's definitely not the pips. You count the rolls. You say, how many rolls will it take me? Look, as white, you're going to get off in 3 rolls. I mean, it's certainly north of 90% of the time. Just looking at it, it's north of 90% of the time, well north. Okay. This is a equal position. I think, what is it? 54 pips each. Okay. So first of all, anyone, white's on roll, 0-all. Anyone have a guess? Just give us a few guesses. What are white's winning chances? It's 54 pips each. It's 0-all. It's exactly the same position each. What are white's winning chances? Give us a few guesses.
65%.
Okay, I have 65 guess. Yeah.
60.
60 guess.
60, yeah.
55.
Well, yeah.
Anyone lower than 60? Anyone higher than 65?
55.
55. Okay, so we've got a 55 to 65 range. This is sort of like the expert class. It's very good class. Wouldn't have been sure myself. So it's 64%. So 64% simply by virtue of having the roll. It's well worth trying to remember something like that. If it was 100 pips each, and white was on roll and there was no contact, it would be high 50s for white. So as the pips come down, big on roll is a bigger advantage. So you're 64%. Oh, pretty good. So anyone doubling?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, I would
No.
double. I'm ahead, and there is plenty of chances from my side to throw a good double one. Like any double would come up anyway out of
hey,
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 throws. I might reduce to 7 or 6.
anyone else doubling? Not doubling?
Not doubling. Not
No,
doubling.
No,
yeah.
White.
I'll wait a roll.
Yeah, I think it is no double. I think in this position, you're not far enough ahead, and I think the tactic is probably something like you throw 5-4, he throws 5-4. Now your 64 is probably gone up to 67 or something like that, and then you probably wait one more, and you throw 5-4, he throws 5-4, and now you're probably around 70-ish, and that's when you might be more on the doubling point, I think. So it's not the worst sin in the world if you're 64%, you know, it's not the worst sin in the world, but it's maybe the position isn't, you don't have, you hope to get further up the doubling window. So it is a no double.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So how about this position? So it's the pip count is the same, 54, 54. Black has a weakness. He obviously didn't attend the bear-in lecture, the talk of bearing in your checkers, or else you won't have the bloody gap on the 4. So how do people feel about this?
That's
Double,
a
Be a
good.
lot more likely to double that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be doubling there. That gap's the problem.
Yeah.
I'd double.
Any
So-
4, any 4 would be the trouble.
Yeah, 4 is the
Yes.
problem. So even though the pips are level, they're not really level, because when black throws a 4, I'm going to say he plays 6-2. He's taken off no checker, and now he has a checker on the 2 point. He's probably going to have a checker on the 2 point at the end of the game. He's going to have to throw a 5 to take it off or something. It's ridiculous. Having the gap on the 4 is ridiculous. Black is losing in pips here by quite a bit, actually, even though the pip count is the same. So it's a double, yeah, absolutely. If you wait in this position, it's a double take, I think, actually, this position. If you wait and you roll 4-3 and black rolls 4-3, it's double pass. So it's double take now. If you don't double but wait a roll and you roll 4-3 and black rolls 4-3, it's double pass. You miss the bus. It's the potential
Yeah.
rolling a 4. It's too late when he rolls the 4. And it doesn't take much imagination to say he's going to roll some bloody 4s. He's got, but don't wait for him to roll the 4, or the train is gone. So that's tip 5. You've got to use your imagination. Look at the weaknesses, but you can't wait for the bad thing to happen to your opponent. You've just got to double based on the potential of the position. And we had a couple of examples there. So you're in the heat of battle. It's an important stage. It's 7-all to 11. White's on roll. You're looking at this and going, everyone does the same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to roll 10 or more to get past. I'm stuffed if I roll 6, 1, 5, 2, 4, 3. I need to roll 10 or 11 or 12 to get past them. I'll hit them with 6, 3, I guess. Anyone doubling?
No.
One no? All no's?
Yeah, I'll double. I'll double.
One double?
I'll double two.
Important stage.
Definitely double.
Cracker's doubling.
Yeah. Hi, Cracker.
Hi, Vic. Good to see you.
Cracker, we're going to ask you a question at the very end of this, because we need your incisive input. I want to see, will your input be as incisive as I expected it to be? Okay. The crucial thing about this position is, even though nobody has any checkers off, this is really the last roll of the game. White's going to roll once, black's going to roll once, and the game is over. Because White's going to get past black, in which case he's just won. Yeah, we just got to win. It's over. Or White's going to roll, let's say 6, 2. So he's going to creep up right to beside the black checker. If black hits him with a 1, black's going to win. It's over. Black's going to double, White's going to pass. If black doesn't hit white, White's won. Now, it's too late to double. When you roll the 6, 2, and you're right beside black, and black rolls 5, 2 and misses, and you double and you go, aha, didn't I do well? You didn't do well. You missed the bus. You missed your market. And just to show you the numbers here, let's just look at the numbers. You've 8 good numbers to get past. Now, 8's quite a lot. You get past with 8 numbers. Double 6, double 5, double 4, double 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, and 4, 5, 4, 6. The other 28 times you leave a shot. And white's going to hit you 10 times, or black's going to hit you 10 times. Fine. Now that means that out of 36, you're going to win 26 times, or 70%. So your expectation at the moment is 70-30. So your equity is 0.4. If you double, you move your equity now, but it's too late later on. You know, if you take the roll, you've missed your market because it's the last roll. Black will hit you and the game is over, or black will miss you and the game is over. So you've got to be very alert to last roll situations, even which can occur very early in the game. They can occur with no checkers off. This is a last roll situation. The game's going to end after you've both had one roll. You've only one chance to double. It's now. You know, so if you're ahead, you got to double now. Because, you know, black misses you, it's double pass. Black hits you, you lose. So if you're ahead, you double. That's you're at a last roll situation. Does that sort of make sense to people? I think a lot of people won't double this because they'll think, oh, it's very hard to get past.
Yeah,
it is very hard to get past. But he's got to hit you. So
yeah, it has to hit you. Yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
So you got to double these last roll positions because you won't get another chance. It's actually, it's actually not like this. This is not a last roll position. What you're trying to do in this position is creep your equity up to get to the best doubling position. It's not the last roll in most scenarios. You roll 5-4, he rolls 5-4. Well, still about the same. But that's not the case here. You get one roll here, and that's pretty much it. So here's another one which, believe it or not, is similar. I think Most people won't double this. It's a double. And it's a double based on the same logic. You're a ton ahead in the race. So a couple of things are going to happen. You're going to roll a good number, which I'm going to say is double 1, double 2, double 3, double 4, double 5. 5 good rolls. And you win the game. Well, you certainly, if you roll double 5 or double 4, you've won the game anyway. Double 3 and double 2 and double 1 are good. Yeah, winning probably. If you don't roll a 6 and you roll 5, 4, then you just play your inside the board and you get another chance to roll double 1, double 2, double 3, double 4, double 5. And if you don't roll a 6, you get another chance to roll double 1, double 3. So, but if you do roll a 6, you roll your 6, 2. And it's pretty much, again, it's the last, you see, it's a last roll position. What are you ahead? You're ahead 40 or 50 pips here. Black's going to hit you and you lose. You probably lose, actually. But if black misses you, it's over. You double, he's passing. So this is a last roll position, even though it doesn't look like it. So you've got to be quite alert to these last roll positions and don't miss the bus. So they can occur in middle games all over the place, where you sort of coast home afterwards and you sort of scratch your head and wonder, did I have a double at some stage? The doubling position is now, not when you roll 6, 3, bring one in. He rolls double 4, misses you, you roll past him, and you keep on rolling, and you're just winning easily. And you're wondering, I wonder, did I miss a double? Well, you did, you missed it here. That's tip 6. The last roll, you must double now. You know, you don't get the chance for your position to gradually improve. Okay, so let's have a quick look at what we covered. You've got to change the mentality of towards doubling and lean into doubling rather than lean away from it. You've got to double based on the potential of a position, not on waiting for the good scenario to arise. It's too late by then. And some scenarios which are last roll, you've got to double at that point because you're not going to get another chance. If it's good, it's double pass. If it's bad, you've just lost. So we're just going to go back to last week's position as an example of a reference position, which is tip 7, which is to try to get a couple of reference positions. So I think we have one. So this was the position last week. Level pips. White's on roll, so that's an advantage of itself. And white has a shot. This is double take. It's very sorry. This is no double take according to the computer. So the computer says this is no double take. If you improve white's position by 1 pip, the computer says double take. So it's as good as a double, right? So it's just on the border. The computer says if you play this 40 times and 1 time the opponent passes, you should double. Now, I think 1 time in 40, I think I'd get passes on this 1 time in 7, 1 time in 8, something like that. I think some people will argue, okay, the pips are level, white's on roll, so white has an advantage. If white rolls a big number, then he's even doing better. He was on roll and he's rolled a big number, so I'm sort of losing. And if white rolls a little number, he probably hits me. So I'm losing if he rolls a big number, and I'm losing if he rolls a little number, so I'm just going to pass. I think you get plenty of passes here. Now, it's no double take, but you know it's as good as a double. If you improve the white position just by 1 pip, it's double take. White is 67%, having improved by 1 pip. If we gave white a stronger board, actually, and the same pips, it's a double take. So instead of having a 3-point board, we gave white a stronger 4-point board, same number of pips. Now it's double take. And it's double pass if we give white a racing lead where we would normally double. So with 100 pips, we sort of said you want to be 8 or 9 ahead to double. So if we give white a lead of 9 pips, it's double pass. So having the racing lead plus the shot is double pass. Now, what we have there is a reference position where you know here in this position where the pips are level and you have the shot, it's just about a double. Once you know that position, then anything that gets stronger for white, you just know it's a double. Anything stronger for white is a double. And anything weaker for white is not a double, and you might decide to hold off. So it's this, I don't have many reference positions, but this isn't a bad one. Pips are level, I have a shot and I'm on roll. It's just about a double. Make it any way stronger, it's an easy double. And clearly for black, if the pips are level, I have a take. If white has a normal racing lead, a doubling advantage on the checker count, on the pip count. So if white is 10% ahead in pips and he has the shot, I should pass. So the essentials of that position can apply to a big number of situations. And so this is called a reference position. And I think I now, from just having done this, I have another reference position, which is quite useful to me, because positions will come up which are quite like this, and I'll know from the reference position what to do. Okay, so that's a sort of tip on the reference positions. Now, Cracker, I don't know, were you here for this slide? I don't think you were for this slide.
No.
Okay, well, Cracker, would you give us a comment on the color scheme of, does anything strike you about the color scheme?
Anything strike me?
On the colors.
Well, there's only one red, so there's only one dangerous situation.
I said if you were here, you would be incisive and analytical, and you have not disappointed me, Cracker. Fantastic. There's a hell of a lot of green when you double, and there's only one red. And really, I think that is the secret to doubling. That doubling, it's not doubling that gets you into trouble. It's not doubling that gets you into trouble. So that was really the main point of this evening, guys. So I think, yeah, we're good for Love Island. 10 minutes to Love Island. We're still okay. So any questions anyone would like to raise? But that was really our second bash, guys. Do people think they might double a little bit more, just a little bit more?
Well, I remember many years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we had a 4-person tournament in Sean Casey's house. And Sean gave me a little nugget. He told me that I'm always one move late in doubling.
That costs a lot of money in real life. There are some very good doublers, I think, in the backgammon community. I think Shane Mulhall, based on his poker skills, Shay is a very good doubler. I think he gets the cube, he doubles very well. I think Jonathan O'Grady is a good doubler, absolutely not afraid of the cube. So, you know, there are some people who just get it very, very quickly. But I think, Dave, as you said there, the temptation is that you're one move away. that you just want to wait one more go. And that's the bit you have to avoid, because if you wait one more go, you don't open up this page to yourself. The bus is left. That's what happens in a lot of cases. The bus is left. It's just double pass, and you get your point. But you don't open up all of these favorable situations, and you don't open up 4-point gammons and things like that. So I think that is the temptation is to wait a roll. And what I'm saying is, look, if you think it could be a double, and you'll be a far more dangerous opponent. But don't double when you're playing me. Please, I prefer you didn't.
Thanks very much, Sean. That was very insightful half an hour or so. Thanks. Greatly
Listen,
appreciated.
guys, look, fantastic. And as with last week, if anyone's got any questions, pop them in and we'll respond to them. Of course we will. It's an absolute pleasure. Next week,
Sean, if possible, can we have more on doubling? Because I am not good at it. I'm just okay. It would be great if we have more.
Okay, Andre, I'll put something into next week as well on doubling, because I think it's where a lot of the action happens. And as I say, a lot of the tips you get move your PR by 0.1 or maybe 0.2. I think if you apply this, it moves your PR by about 2. It's that serious an issue. If you just lean into doubling.
It is. That's what I've noticed. When I go through after the matches, that's where I get and I'm missing first double, second double, and a third double he passes, and that's actually even worse to double.
Yes. No, for sure. And I think it does take a little bit of courage to apply it, because the temptation is so strong not to. I mean, as I said earlier, I find it quite difficult in some positions to double. And I do actually have to push myself to double the thing. And in general, it works out pretty okay, So I think this is probably the key to getting anyone who wants to be playing at 7-8, you got to do this, you just got to do this, you won't get there by just being very, very skillful with your checkers if you don't do this. But if you do this, as I say, I think you've half the journey. So guys, as I say, you want to unsee all the green. And if you're thinking about it, missing the bus was a sin in my day. So I hope that helps. On that note, we might leave it there until next week.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks very much, Sean.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good to see you again. All. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Well done, Sean. That was great. Thanks a lot.
Listen, thank you.